Let's get to it. We'll start with approach. Guys, imagine you're at a bar and you see a 6 on a bar stool and a 9 in the corner surrounded by a bunch of her friends. After a couple of drinks, most men are actually going to end up approaching the 6. Why? Because they're going to incorrectly perceive her to be the safer option. The fact of the matter is that most men are intimidated by attractive women. They think that women also use the metric that men apply to them, which is a failure of intersex understanding. This leads them to think that the 9 is out of their league. So she functionally represents punching outside their weight class. On the other hand, they tend to think that the 6 should be like shooting fish in a barrel, especially if they consider themselves to be like a 7 or an 8. They're more likely to think it's this woman's lucky day or this is a sure thing. The issue is that it certainly isn't a sure thing. This is because while men tend to titrate their standards to kind of match the attractiveness of the particular woman they're dealing with, women kind of don't. I know it might sound bonkers, but that 6 is very likely to have the same standards with respect to the men she's willing to mate and date than that 9 is. And this actually makes the 6 less safe than the 9. This is because it's actually going to hurt worse if and when a 6 rejects you than if and when a 9 does. Given your perceptions, if and when a 9 rejects you, you're probably going to think, yeah, I kind of get it. It was a long shot anyway. On the other hand, given your perceptions, if and when a 6 rejects you, you might actually get your ego bruised. Who does this woman think she is? I was doing her a favor. Do you understand? It's actually all in your head, but isn't everything anyways? In any case, this is a part of the reason why 6s actually tend to get approached in bars more often than 9s. And it's this attention from men that can inappropriately mislead these 6s into believing that they are perceived to be more attractive than they actually are. So let's assume that you go up to the 6 because you perceive her to be the safer option. Because you kind of believe that you're the more attractive option, you're going to act like you're the more attractive option. You're going to be more confident. You're going to take bigger risks. And most importantly, you're not really going to care about her own interest in you.
Great video. I see this all the time. Guys usually date girls that are at their own level or lower. I would also add something I think most guys don't want to admit to themselves. Less attractive girls usually give it up much easier because of insecurities. In my own observations, I have notes that some average-looking girls know that they are average at best and therefore make it up in other ways. Most notably like giving up sex much faster and also making more effort to please a man in the bedroom. Another reason men go for less attractive girls, I think, is that they usually are more fun to be around and they let you get away with a lot more.
After all, you're not that into her anyway. So you think it won't be any skin off your back if it falls through. That confident indifference is like crack to women. They'll swear up and down that they hate it when men behave that way, but I guarantee that they're not going home with the empathic nice guy at the end of the night. Next, in your interaction with the 6, you're likely going to be a bit more sexually aggressive than you would with the 9. Like, you're going to be a bit more motivated to move the encounter in the direction of a sexual opportunity. To quote Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen Ross, it's fuck or walk. And why is that? Because if you perceive her to be a 6, there might not be much else besides the sexual opportunity to justify your continued investment of time, energy, and attention. So you're unlikely to spend the whole evening talking to this girl. You'll communicate your sexual intent more quickly and see how she responds. If she's not receptive, you'll probably cut your losses sooner and move on. And if she is receptive, you can choose to act on it or not. All other things being equal, men who are more sexually aggressive, but important caveat, not men who are too sexually aggressive, are more likely to transition a sexual opportunity into a sexual encounter. And this is simply due to the fact that it is very rare for women to take the lead on these things. Like, they can pump the brakes, but they're generally not going to step on the gas. And just like driving, men who step on the gas tend to get to where they're going more quickly.
He is absolutely right about how females react to men that are indifferent to the outcome. A while back ago, I was dating a very beautiful girl for a couple of months. She was so beautiful that guys would turn around and stare at her, even when she was out with me. For some reason, I decided that I wasn't going to have sex with her and told her that I liked her more as a friend. She didn't believe me at first, but after a couple of dates of me just being laid back, having fun, and enjoying her company, she went crazy. Pressed me on why I never call or answer my phone. Then she started to ask me out on dates, and when I would cancel last minute, she would still try to see me before or even after my new plans. When that didn't work, she would try to see me the very next day. I felt that she was too invested, so I had to let her go in the end. I stopped answering her calls because I knew I wasn't good for her and that she would get her feelings hurt with me. But I'm not sure that she behaved that way because of me just not being interested. I'm also quite tall, and I've had girls tell me I'm handsome my whole life, so it could have just been that, and me being indifferent to her beauty made it much harder for her to just be my friend.
Okay, let's get back to it. Let's say that you succeed in bringing this 6 back to your place, and you both enjoy a lovely, consensual sexual encounter. Once you're finished, how are you going to behave? Are you going to be telling this girl that she's the best you've ever had? Are you going to start planning the second date while you're still lying there in bed? Once she leaves, are you going to text her the next day? Hey, I want you to know that I had a great time last night, smiley face, winky face. No. Once you're finished, you might be thinking, when is this woman going to leave? And you're probably not going to be texting her anytime soon. After a certain amount of time, this will probably motivate her to reach out to you, because most women don't like the idea of simply being a one-night stand. And you might be cool and indifferent about the prospect of a second meeting. Do this a few more times, and this woman might be blowing up your phone, trying to invite you over for a home-cooked meal. And guys end up thinking, why is it always the ones that I'm not interested in who always seem to want a relationship with me? The answer is simple, my dudes. You did the right things with the wrong woman. I guarantee that all of the things that you did to pull the 6 are just as effective in pulling the 9. Why? Because these two don't belong to different species. They are the same animal. They are woman. And if it works on one, it will work on the other. The problem is that your attraction literally fucks with your perception, and you end up thinking that the two are somehow categorically different. They're not. That's all in your head. But what do guys do when they finally meet a woman that they're really excited about? They throw all of that effective behavior right out the window. They disclose their attraction and positive emotions quickly and clearly. They hesitate in expressing sexual interest and communicating sexual intent. They start planning the second date while they're still on the first. They text the next day. They smile and compliment and buy gifts and pursue. And none of that shit works. None of it.